So when Live 11 came out, they dropped a handful of Spectral devices that are included in Suite. I feel like they're pretty underrated for how cool they are. So I'm going to start with Spectral Time. This is Ableton's stock Spectral delay, which also happens to come with a freezer. So when you first load it up, it just sounds like a normal delay. But let's say if we turn the time, the delay mix to 100 and the dry wet to 100, it still sounds normal. But when we turn up the tilt, you can tell it's delaying these frequency bins in a linear fashion. So in this case, the lowest frequency would be played first, and the highest frequency would be played up to what we have our tilt set to, which is 340. Now, if we set the tilt negative, then it's going to be playing the higher frequencies first. So at negative 240 milliseconds, it'll play the lowest frequency. And if we turn off the delay for a second and go to the freezer, you can tell it just freezes the current harmonics. Instead of manually retriggering this, you can use the device's retrigger, which can be aware of when you insert new notes, or you can have it sync by time. So if I got like an ARP, turn up this rate. It refreshes the freeze on the interval that you set it to. So this whip I just started, I feel like might need some ambience in the background. So I'm gonna take this chord progression here. So I might shift this MIDI back a little bit, just for this track. And we can also shift the resolution to ultra. Maybe like an auto filter. Turn up the phase. I like this also might be cool with phaser, but like really slow. Then in this drop I just made, I feel like I can make it more spicy somehow. Maybe this lead in particular. So in Spectral Time I might want to laserify it. Take the delay time down, turn the mix up, and then turn the dry wet up all the way. Ooh. Maybe even give it a little bit of stereo. Now we can also alter this laser even more. If we turn up the spray, it's going to scramble the delay times. And that sounds more airy, but I don't know if I want to use that in this case. So when we shift the mask to the left, you can hear that it's really delaying the lower frequencies only. But then when the mask has a positive value, it limits it to the higher frequencies more. So to kind of visualize it more, it's more of a transient adjustment to the left. And to the right, it's more of like a airy laser. The feedback also can sound cool. What else would you expect from a delay? There's also this built-in frequency shifter. That could be like a switch up thing, like automate this while it's playing. I might make that the second drop idea. Just going to Command Shift D this over, make sure my overdub and automation arms are on. And I think Spectral Time is not only just nice on leads, I think it could be cool for like percussion sounds too. I could even maybe just like automate this over time. It's also worth noting that you can get different timbre qualities with these resolutions here. Ultra sounds a little bit too high def for me. I think mid is just a nice digital laser common ground. Here's some more examples of me using Spectral Time in a song. Here in my track Vitamin D, I use it to switch up the lead. So you can tell right here when it gets to a higher octave, turn on the Spectral Time, tilt it forward, so it sounds like a more like wet, watery effect. So without it's just... Here in my track Bread, you can hear it being used to transition to the next part of the song. So another really cool stock spectral effect that Ableton included, Spectral Resonator. You kind of think of this one as like a more like robotic kind of vocoder, except it's not a vocoder. So this gives you the option to resonate a certain frequency or specific note tuned to 440, with also the option to stretch or compress the spacing of harmonics, and also pitch shifting the input signal. But I think the really cool part about this is that you can take MIDI input from another track. So you just turn on MIDI, taking it from these wavetable chords. But to make it play all the chords, we gotta turn it on to poly. This might be easier to demonstrate on a vocal. Let's get a random float on loop. Drag the spectral resonator on it. So Spectral Resonator also comes with all these cool effects like chorus. Wander modulates the harmonics randomly. And granular is yeah. It's also cool. Or you can just go back to Intergalactic by the Beastie Boys. You can turn down the harmonics. It's like really wet. The last stock spectral device I want to show you is half stock because it comes with a free creative extensions pack. So this one is nice, I feel like, for like making vocals more ambient. It's kind of like the freeze from Spectral Time, but a lot more clear, I think. So we can like freeze this anywhere. And that could just be a vocal atmosphere by itself. And it's still going. And if you're looking for more spectral effects, I'm currently releasing a ton on my Patreon and Gumroad. So I have Hologram that's like a spectral gate. I have Liquid Mask, which lets you draw these like wet filters. Oh, this comes with a shape generator. And if you turn on high FFT setting, it can sound really squeaky. Sounds really crazy when you put a bunch of OTTs on it. Then I have Spectral Shift, which is like a cloudy pitch shifter and also bend shifter. I like to put Hologram on dirty mode, get saturator, and hybrid reverb, then modulate this to get squeaky sounds out of it. Those are on my Patreon and Gumroad. Always have stuff in the works, so like and sub to see what's coming next.